Whenever I visit a new city, I always check if there's any good museums that might be worth visiting. I have visited many wonderful museums, both close to home and far away, but if you were to ask me what my favourite museum is, I would say without much hesitation the Nordiska Museet in Stockholm. The Nordiska Museet, literally the Nordic Museum, was founded in the late 19th century by Arthur Hazelius, who also founded the nearby open-air museum Skansen, another must-see museum if you are ever in the neighbourhood. Hazelius focused mainly on rural life in his collection, collecting and displaying items made and used by ordinary people. Objects were either purchased or donated to the collection and came from all of the Nordic countries. Hazelius didn't just collect objects and furniture, but complete houses and farm buildings too. These were then carefully taken apart and transported to the Skansen Open Air Museum, where they still can be admired. One of these is known as Hazelius Mansion, a yellow wooden house from the early 18th century, where in 1833 Arthur Hazelius was born. The Nordiska Museet is situated on the city island of Djurgården. The current building opened its doors to the public in 1907. When you walk up to it, you will notice its imposing facade with little gables and turrets. Even though it's a very big building, the initial vision for the Nordiska Museet was a building thrice as big. You enter the museum in a space that feels a little like a catacomb, dark stones with beautiful vaulted ceilings. But then this space opens up into an enormous central hall. It feels like you are in a cathedral, and the exhibition spaces are on the different floors along this hall. You are first greeted by the enormous 6-meter high oak statue of a seated Gustav Vasa, the 16th century king of Sweden. Usually there are temporary exhibitions on the ground floor, often designed in a very dramatic and beautiful way. Walking through these is an experience in itself. Currently you can view the exhibition The Arctic While the Ice is Melting. You encounter the history and the future of the ice, and above all, the people who live in the Arctic today through objects, photos, design, artwork, films and projections. You can also discover Sami objects in an Arctic and Nordic context. At the far end of the main hall, and when I say far end I really mean far end, as the hall is nearly 127 meters in length, are staircases that spiral up to the upper floors, leading to further exhibitions. On the top floor you can find an exhibition on Nordic life through 5 centuries and 4 seasons. The exhibition tells the story of the Nordic people, their relation to nature and how this has affected their lives. The exhibition wasn't there when I last visited the museum in early 2020, but what I have gathered from looking at photos online, it looks absolutely spectacular. The Nordiska Museet cares for over 1.5 million objects. Old museums not only have to take care of their often imposing collections, but they also have a responsibility to take care of cultural heritage and the baggage that old collections bring with them. When visiting the Nordiska Museet, I feel that the museum manages to strike a good balance between celebrating the rich cultural heritage of the Nordic countries, but also remembering its less glorious past. The combination of educating, entertaining, being really up close to the historical objects, but also marvelling its visitors in its grand environment is something that I think makes the Nordiska Museet so special. When you make your way out of the museum, the inevitable exit through the shop is a very pleasant one. The museum shop has an amazing collection of books, of which I have purchased quite a few over the years. It also offers a wonderful range of Nordic handicrafts, food items and even vintage objects. About his vision for the museum, its founder Arthur Hazelius said the following: "I would like the collections to be presented in such a way that a visit to the future palace would evoke a strong and majestic atmosphere." I think that if Hazelius were able to look at his museum today, he would be proud that the museum has not only managed to evoke awe in its visitors, but also to inspire them to learn more about Nordic culture and perhaps try their hand at making beautiful things for themselves. To learn more about the Nordiska Museet and its current exhibitions, please visit the museum website nordiskamuseet.se.